Alright guys, here is the ultimate guide for fat loss and dieting. The exact 3 steps that I went through, the 3 stages, might I say, that I went through to lose 40 pounds of fat and finally reveal my six-pack, reveal that dream physique that I've been working so hard for, finally get lean and achieve a toned physique. If you're watching this video, I bet you've tried different diets, different exercises, different core workouts, and nothing has worked. And I was in your same shoes. I was doing planks, I was doing crunches, I was eating this kind of food, and it never worked for me. So, there's 3 stages to this. The first one is by far the hardest thing. After that, it just gets progressively easier until you have a shredded six-pack, which is awesome. So, I'm going to take you guys through the 3 stages that I had to go through in order to transform my physique and finally reveal my six-pack abs. The first realization that I had to make is that there are no shortcuts. There are no hacks, and that the journey is actually really, really hard. At first, you're kind of stuck in this mindset of like, there has to be like one thing missing. There has to be like one thing that I'm doing wrong that's not just one simple hack that's going to get me there. And the reality is that's not the case. It's all of it. You have to do all of it all at the same time and make it somehow work. And it's extremely, extremely difficult. What you can do is make the commitment easier for yourself. Use different strategies to just make the harder things a little bit easier to adhere to. Keep in mind that before I started my journey, I was extremely undisciplined. I was smoking weed every single day. I was eating a ton of junk food. I was playing video games. I couldn't hold myself accountable to the gym. I couldn't hold myself accountable to my diet. So if I made it work one way or another, and I went through these stages, I definitely believe some of you guys can take away from this and do the exact same. The first step that I had to go through, which was so incredibly crucial, but it was also the hardest part of my whole fitness journey, is that I had to eliminate all junk food. I couldn't have it in moderation, not even just in like a little bit, like a little bowl of chips, a little bowl, no, like absolutely get rid of it all. Now you're ready to click off this video, you're like, oh my goodness, here we go. Eliminate all junk food. It is the biggest addiction that I had to overcome, but it is also the biggest leap that I took forward to get closer to my goals. It wasn't even a step. This one is literally a leap because when you are consuming junk food, you are subconsciously programmed to be eating it pretty much 24/7. Junk food is a highly palatable form of food, meaning that it releases so much dopamine for you to be consuming it. And I bet that you have cues in your life that just lead you to randomly eat. For example, when I was in college, I'd watch TV and I'd play video games all the time. And although that's not a habit that's going to completely deter me from my fitness goals, that habit was associated with me eating a bunch of crap. So every time I sat down in front of the TV, I would like need something to be putting in my mouth. Like, I kid you not, a beer to be sipping on, a soda to be sipping on, and like some form of like popcorn, chips, muffins, something to be putting in my mouth, as that habit was associated with the other thing that I was doing. Just think about how awful this tiny little habit is. Not only are you doing it all the time, subconsciously, not paying attention to it, just throwing super high calorie foods in your mouth that have no nutritional value, right? They're high in carbs and fat, the opposite of kind of what you want to be eating for weight loss. They're not satiating, so even when you eat them, you're not full from that food, so you're tempted to eat even more. The salt that's on chips, that's on fries, that's on burgers, that's on pizza, these super high sodium foods, is it actually just makes you more hungry. Like, you just want to keep reaching for more food. It took me 2 weeks to just cut it off, and I struggled so hard to not have those things in my life. I got rid of everything I had. I only ate quote-unquote healthy foods, and it was so incredibly difficult for 2 weeks. 2 weeks I struggled. But after that point, I just woke up one day, and I just didn't really want it anymore. Like, I didn't crave it. It was in front of me, and I was like, why would I eat that? It's awful for you. It was an eye-opening moment where I just gained a new perspective after those 2 weeks and never looked back, never went back to just being a junk food addict. The rule that I followed, and I think like a YouTuber said this a while back, but he said, if it doesn't come from the ground or from an animal, don't eat it. So from the ground, meaning fruits, vegetables, whole grains, wheat, flour, that kind of stuff. And meat, right? Milk. Things that could just come organically from animals. If it's not one of those 2 things, do not consume it because it is processed foods. It is man-made. It is made to be incredibly addicting to your brain, making your fitness journey that much harder for you. After completely getting rid of junk food, After those 2 weeks, I literally felt on top of the world. My energy was through the roof and my diet was so much cleaner. I didn't even limit myself as to how much I was eating. I was just not eating junk food. So I could have all the rice, the veggies, the steak, the yogurt I wanted. Like, by all means, house it. But I would get so much fuller, so much easier, and not crave more food. I conquered that battle. I conquered that demon that I had within myself, that junk food demon of just consuming chips, consuming salsa, consuming muffins, all these awful things that I was literally addicted to. Like, it was like a drug for me. After conquering that battle, another few months went by, and I lost 20 pounds just from that change of no junk food, zeroing it out. And I looked in the mirror and I was super happy with the progress that I made. But by no means was I satisfied. I didn't have a six pack. I didn't have the abs, the toned abs that I was going for, the look that I was going for. And what I had to do from there was I had to bump things up a notch. But I'm telling you, I was just coasting from here. Like, after that initial demon battle with the junk food, it was so much easier when I had a healthy relationship with the foods that I was eating, when I had control over myself. The step that I took from here is I made sure that I was in a 500 calorie deficit every single day, and I paired that with walking at least 10,000 to 12,000 steps a day. Now, what a 500 calorie deficit did for me is it was a super steady, efficient, yet sustainable form of weight loss at which I was losing about a pound per week. So 3,500 calories in a pound of fat, 500 times 7 is 3,500 calories per week, meaning every week you will be down 1 pound of fat. So the positive reinforcement is still there. Every week you wake up a little bit leaner, a little bit less heavy, and you feel really good about yourself. So not only are you making progress, but a 500 calorie deficit is not too intense. So your body's not like withdrawing from energy. It's not like having these super intense cravings for carbs, for food. You're not just driving yourself mental with like the diet that you're on, yet you're still making incredibly steady progress. Now, what people don't realize, and after doing my research on this, is that walking is the most sustainable, not efficient, but the most sustainable form of cardio for weight loss. All you have to do is just spend more time on your feet. So that 10 to 12,000 steps per day, I wasn't on the treadmill. I wasn't doing no cardio. I was just walking a little bit more. I was putting conscious effort into parking further away from the building, taking the long route to class, going for a walk whenever I had a break. Instead of just sitting on my butt, I would walk, even if that means back and forth. Like, it sounds stupid, but would you rather do that or spend hours on the treadmill? Right. So, incredible method for sustainable weight loss. All you have to do is just walk a little bit more. And those two things paired together, I was just on track to success, making weekly progress within my physique and slowly revealing my abs. Now, what's so incredibly fascinating about this strategy that I just talked about, 500 calorie deficit and walking 10 to 12,000 steps per day, is that I was making this progress completely content with my lifestyle, with my life. I was having literally no problems to just start revealing my six pack. It was insane because the person that I was a few months ago was just doing all this research, trying to find all these methods as to how I could stay on track, how I can hold myself accountable, how I can build the discipline. And the burden of it all was just the fact that I was majorly addicted to junk food, that I just couldn't stop, that I was trying to find methods to incorporate the junk food. I was like, I can't let go of that. That's a part of me. I need my chips, but I need my muffins. I need to go out with my friends and have pizza. But when I was able to let go of that one thing, I was just straight up seeing results and being completely content with the life that I was living, happy with it. Now, if you want to figure out what calories you need to be eating to be in a 500 calorie deficit, to be making consistent progress towards your weight loss goal, towards your lean physique, you can just go to calculator.net. It's going to be the first link in the description below. It's completely free. You just input your age, your height, your gender, and then your activity level. But don't overestimate this. Like, if you think you're lightly sedentary, just go sedentary. If you think you're active, go moderately active, or whatever the options are, so that you can ensure you're genuinely making as much progress as possible towards that goal. It'll give you a variety of meal plan options that you can follow in order to hit your goals. And if you want more direct help from me, that's going to be the second link in the description below. But for now, let's just keep moving. We've gotten rid of junk food. We're in a 500 calorie deficit. We're walking 10 to 12,000 steps a day. We are weightlifting. We are making consistent progress towards our goals here. But you're still going to plateau. That's still not going to get you that defined six-pack that you've always wanted. And you're asking, Simon, why not? Well, the less you weigh, the less you burn. Okay, so when I was 220 pounds, I was burning a lot more calories just being alive than even 200, just that 20-pound difference, my maintenance calories were different, meaning my deficit calories also have to be different. So as you keep making progress, every 6 to 8 weeks, I would go back into like calculator.net or just run my own calories because I have like a Whoop watch, which like tells me my calories. And I would subtract 500 from that. So I would redo the thing. It would tell me my maintenance, and then I would subtract 500 for that given body weight that you're currently at after making that progress. So every 6 to 8 weeks, readjust the calories, readjust your nutrition, and keep doing the same thing from there. Now, once you get to this point, there is no stopping from here. You've made so much progress. You're starting to see way more definition in your physique. You feel so much better about yourself, about your food, about your body. You feel like you're finally in control. Now, if you're still not making as much progress as you want to be, you just have to crank the dials, okay? Make sure you're tracking every single calorie that you're consuming. I'm talking sauces. I'm talking seasonings. I'm talking weighing out your meat portions, weighing out your yogurt portions, all these things to the exact gram. I'm talking you're eating high volume foods, okay? Foods that fill you up for the intake that you're consuming. Because when you're in a deficit and you do it for a prolonged period of time, it gets really tough, man. Like, even though you have these habits in place, you're not eating junk food, you're pretty disciplined and you're on the right track and you've seen so much progress, it's still not the easiest thing in the world. Like, sure, it's so much easier than it was in the beginning. It still can be super duper tough. Your body's really hungry. It wants food. It's been in a deficit for so long. It's begging for a break. And you can either take a break, you could go back to maintenance for a week or two, give your body that fuel, still track your calories, still know that you're at maintenance and you're not eating over and accidentally gaining weight, reversing the progress that you made, and then go back into the deficit. But you just have to keep cranking the dials, making sure everything is in place. You're walking as much as you need to be. You're training as much as you need to be. You're tracking all your calories. You're in the 500 calorie deficit. If you just do that day in and day out and keep going, no matter how you feel, I promise you, the dream physique, you'll just wake up one day and you're just gonna be like, wow, I can't believe the progress that I just made. However, putting all these things together was just one piece of the puzzle for me, making the complete transformation and losing all that weight. So if you want to learn about all the other puzzle pieces to put the picture together to finally achieve your dream physique, just go ahead and watch this video.